Hi there, my name is Isabel Z. Maguire and I'm the Network Coordinator for the Australian, New Zealand and Pacific SGSN Youth Branch. And I'm really excited to talk to you all today about my student position statement that I've been working on alongside students from across the Australia, New Zealand and Pacific region. So when I first entered this role, I was doing some research to what the region actually needed and asking staff and asking students about the things that they were passionate about making change. And when I was talking, obviously a lot of people have the climate crisis on their mind and want to create further climate change action within their universities and institutions. However, there was a real disconnect between students who really wanted to make change and staff members who knew that students wanted to make change, but weren't certain about what students actually wanted in the short term and in the long term for that matter. So I decided to help fix this void in information and create this student position statement, which aims to change the way that universities understand the climate crisis from the perspective of students. So I'm just going to walk you through the position statement that we created, as well as some further resources that you can use. So obviously I'd like to start with an acknowledgement of country. As you'll see throughout the position statement, Indigenous knowledge is a very important and vital part of what students want to advance within their universities. So I'd like to acknowledge that I'm streaming from the lands of the Bunurong people of the Kulin Nations, and I'd like to extend my acknowledgement to the traditional owners of the land from which you're watching this from. So back last year in 2021, I worked with almost 50 students from across the Australia, New Zealand and Pacific region, all from different universities, and we came together to talk about the things that they cared about when it comes to the climate crisis and what they want from their universities. So we did lots of brainstorming. We started off with the goals that we want our universities to achieve, and then we moved on to support needs that student activism groups on their campus need from their universities to advance climate action. And together we worked to create the amazing position statement, which outlines exactly those things, the priorities that students want in terms of the goals they want their universities to achieve, as well as the support needs that student groups need. So I thought I'd take you on a little tour of what the statement looks like and what you can find in it. So if you go to our website and you go to this page here, the climate crisis in universities, the student position statement, you can find everything that we've created. So obviously the big important things are the statement itself, but you can also find a student companion guide. So in the statement itself, this is what we workshopped with the students and then what we've been working on to finalize. So the beginning of the statement starts with about the statement itself. So the key statement that we want the universities to understand is that students from this region want better climate action within their universities. And then we talk about the workshop that we did to create the statement, as well as some further background information on previous research done into what students really do care about when it comes to climate change. Then this section here is the goals and support needs that students identified were important to them. So the goals, the overview of the goals in terms of the top priorities that students want their universities to achieve are to commit to building climate literacy in all of university staff and students, to create further clarity and transparency about the university's relationships with third parties, the inclusion of Indigenous voices in climate action and decision-making, carbon neutrality, and finally minimising single-use plastic in campus catering facilities. And each of these goals are then further elaborated on. You can have a little read just to help university staff who come across this statement to understand what we're talking about. If you scroll further down, you'll find the support needs that we workshopped. So these are the things that students want their university to give to students to make sure that we are able to make the best change possible. So these are providing further financial grants, providing avenues for students to get involved with national and international climate action discussions, to create a centralised web page with the sustainability focused opportunities, clubs and educational programs that are within the university and external to. to create climate action advocacy from the universities themselves, and finally, to create avenues for multi-university events and communication on climate change. So all really amazing and very vital things that we want from our universities. If you scroll a little further down, you can find the action items for university staff. So these are things that we want staff to do once they've received this statement. But there's also action items for students. So the sorts of things that students should be doing when they receive this statement as well. In terms of the companion guide, this was also created by students, and this is a list of actions that you can do to further the impact of the statement itself. Back to the webpage, you can also find some further resources. So this is a workshop template. If you were curious to creating your own position statement, maybe one that's more specific to your institution, you can use this workshop template to make your own. And this is a guide on your top tips on how to create a guide. Yeah, that's everything. That's the position statement, how to use it, what's inside of it. As always, if you ever have any questions, do let me know. My information is on that website there. I am more than happy to help out in any way, shape, or form to make sure that this statement is reaching all the necessary people and therefore creating change. Thank you so much for showing interest in this statement. I do hope that it can help facilitate greater climate action within universities. Thanks so much.